Hi, this is Jonathan Jarashow, publisher of Diabetes Digest, family of magazines, and diabetesdigest.com. And I'm here with certified diabetes educator Joy Pape. And as you can see, we have some show and tell. We have an Omron blood pressure monitor. And Joy, obviously you've written articles about the need for blood pressure monitoring at home, not just at the doctor's office, but if I'm someone with diabetes and I already have a blood glucose meter and maybe some other diabetes care tools at home, maybe I'm saying, what do I need a blood pressure meter at home for as well? I can wait till the next time I go to the doctor's office, or I could, possibly, wait until I go into the drugstore, whatever else. So what are the benefits of home blood pressure monitoring?
I'm so glad you asked. Number one, 2 out of 3 people who have diabetes have high blood pressure. Many people don't know it, okay? A lot of people say, well, I get my blood pressure checked when I go to my doctor. It's not good enough because home blood pressure monitoring shows you some other things. Did you know that there's a certain time of day that it's more dangerous to have your blood pressure checked? That's early in the morning, within an hour of getting up, an hour or two of getting up in the morning. How many people go to the doctor at that time?
Not too many.
Right, and so they miss that number, and that number is very important if their blood pressure is high at that time. So early morning hypertension is one reason that someone should do home blood pressure monitoring at home. Another one is called...
I think that alone is...
I think that alone is enough.
A good enough reason.
Right, right. Another reason is called white coat hypertension. Many people go into their doctor's office with a healthcare provider and their blood pressure is higher than it normally is. If that's the only time they're getting treated for blood pressure, they may get medication. They may not even have high blood pressure. So that's a reason to check at home. What is it really doing at home every day? Now there's something else called masked hypertension. That is when you go into the doctor's office and you feel so good because someone's taking care of you. Right. And your blood pressure is lower than it normally is. Then you might miss the fact that you've got high blood pressure. I always say that one reminds me of my mother because she would have loved to be taken care of no matter where she was. So because of these things and because it's so important, even the American Heart Association has put out a call to action for home blood pressure monitoring, that people should be monitoring their blood pressure at home, and they should be monitoring it in the morning and in the evening. Now, not only that, they're even saying the diagnosis of high blood pressure should come from the home blood pressure readings.
Really?
Yes. Now, we all think that the monitor at our doctor's office is so accurate. Not so. Not always so. How often do these get checked? We should ask our doctor.
I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that myself, that maybe it's not even as accurate at a doctor's office as something that's, brand new unit, and obviously this is something that they take very seriously, the accuracy of the monitoring.
Yes.
In terms of a discrepancy that you might find between a doctor's office and at home, how do you deal with something like that?
Well, that's the good thing about home blood pressure monitoring, because you really shouldn't be looking at one number. So if you're in the doctor's office, you can have one number, okay? Here at home, you may have 2 weeks of information to bring in. And so if you see 2 weeks of information and you're working with an accurate monitor, that's why I always recommend Omron, because they are the world leader in blood pressure monitors. They are accurate, they are validated by an outside source, and knowing what we're working with and looking at averages rather than a one-time reading is very helpful.
And for someone with diabetes, the blood pressure numbers are slightly, or the recommendations are slightly different from someone who doesn't have diabetes.
Well, what's recommended is 120 or below for most people. In diabetes, it's recommended that blood pressure should be less than 130 over 80. For home blood pressure monitoring for all, it should be less than 135 over 85. And that's what you are shooting for with this. But something else I do want to mention is that, as you said earlier, most everybody with diabetes has a blood glucose monitor, but they don't get a blood pressure monitor. We understand that complications come from high blood glucose or high blood sugar, but what many people don't understand is the complications are from high blood sugar and high blood pressure. Look at the strokes. Strokes are from both. Kidney failure, that's from both. Eyes, most all the complications are from both, from high blood pressure and high blood sugar. We need to be managing and being as concerned about our blood pressure as we are blood sugar?
Well, I think I know the NDEP, Marty Fennell, who's on our board, is now now at the head of that, and I know in their recommendations it's very clear now. Know your ABCs.
That's right.
So it's not just blood glucose. Testing your A1C. It's also blood pressure and also cholesterol. So 2/3 of the ABCs have to do with blood pressure and cholesterol.
Things you can do at home.
Sure. So blood pressure monitoring in some ways may be as important as testing blood glucose.
Some feel more so. I mean, we don't want to leave one out, but it's and some feel from the studies that it may even be more. But let's do both.
Okay. Take care of your A's, your B's, and your C's. That's A1C, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Thank you so much for your time, Joy, and hopefully people will monitor their blood pressure more frequently, because obviously it's something they can do conveniently, and given some of the reasons that you had spoken about, it's something that makes a lot of sense and can help improve their health care.